All right, on the injury front, Mac Wilson does not have a concussion. He was cleared. Cordero Hodge with that hamstring, Denzel with the calf. We'll see how this goes this week, really day to day, and don't have an update yet on them. Taywan Taylor with the neck, he will be out this week, and we are just gathering more information there. Porter Gustin's making good progress, could have him back this week. On the game yesterday, like we talked about after the game, good team win. I thought in a bunch of areas, offense, defense, special teams, the guys did a great job of executing the game plan. We can definitely do some things in that second half to close the game out, but was really proud of the effort, the physicality, particularly on the defensive side. I thought was outstanding. With that, I'll take any questions.
Thank you very much, Coach. The first question will go to Fred Greetham.
Hey, Coach. Reminiscent of the Dallas game, you had trouble closing it out. And is there a silver lining that with the younger guys, a teachable moment that you can go in and say, look, guys, you saw that any team can come back anytime and just got to keep the gas on the pedal?
Yeah, we have teachable moments really in every game, and that's our job to make sure we're making corrections. Definitely in that game, there were things, and right away, they have a 3-play drive. Then on offense, we have a holding penalty first play. So just the attention to detail wasn't there enough in the second half. Guys made plays. Again, proud of them and how they did respond because we knew Tennessee was going to come back. That's a good football team. We knew they were going to give their best effort in that second half, and we got it. But definitely some things I'd like to clean up, and we'll address those.
Thank you, Fred. Steve Dorshik is next.
Coach, could you address how well the offensive line, which was supposed to be a strength of the team coming into the season, actually is playing right now? And also, I'll ask you specifically to evaluate your rookie, Wells.
Yeah, they're doing a nice job, Steve. Anytime you come out of a game with 0 sacks, and I thought just even the pressures, I thought they did a nice job of keeping people out of the pocket, keeping a clean pocket for Baker. That offensive line, like a lot of units, they have to play together, and to have those 5 guys playing in unison, understanding where they're going to be, communicating is key. And then with Jedrick, he's a rookie, but we're in December now, so he's made strides. He's getting better, and having Joel Bitonio next to him is a big deal from that communication standpoint.
Thank you, Steve. PJ Ziegler is next.
Hey, Kevin, what has changed with Baker Mayfield over the last 6 games in terms of not only just managing the game, but just like the quarterback position and how he's played it?
Yeah, I don't know specifically what's changed with Baker, PJ, but I could tell you as an offense, I think everybody's getting better, getting more comfortable in what we're asking them to do. I think as coaches, we're trying to adapt what we do to our players' strengths. So I would hope we're playing better ball on offense than we did in the beginning of the season, and we have to continue to do that. And I think Baker fits right in there. I think he's doing a nice job. Obviously, he's taking care of the ball. He's extremely productive in that game yesterday. Found completions to all sorts of guys. He had a completion himself. So I just think he's doing a nice job, and I think he's comfortable in what we're doing.
And I know the opponents changed week in and week out, but what have you seen from him that you're confident that yesterday wasn't a mirage and this is something that will continue for him, the style of play?
Yeah, I think he works just like the rest of the guys. They focus on the work each week. He comes in here and grinds. So I have confidence in all those guys that put the work in.
Thank you.
Thanks, PJ. Next question goes to Daryl Ryder.
Hey, Coach, you touched on this a little bit last night after the game, but I just kind of wanted to follow up. Donovan Peoples-Jones, the knee-jerk coaching reaction to him dropping the ball early is he's got to sit down for a moment and think about things. But you guys come right back to him. And we've seen that this year with guys where they make a mistake, but you stick with them and you go right back to them and get them involved. Just how important has that been for the culture that you've established this year and the message that you continue to give your team?
Well, I think we talked a little bit about it yesterday, Daryl. No one's played the perfect game. No one's called the perfect game. how you respond to those moments is really what matters. So you're going to drop a ball. It's going to happen. And then we're going to count on you maybe the next play. That's just kind of the mentality that the guys believe in. The coaches will just coach them up and make sure that they're better the next time. But you can't you can chase perfection, but we're really just looking to make sure that the guys are ready to move on if they do have a mistake or a mental error or whatever it may be.
And wanted to ask you about Miles. You got 52 snaps, I think, out of him yesterday, which ended up being some like 72%. Just how did he come out of yesterday's game? And, I also wanted to ask you, how much film are you sending the league office on plays involving him? Because a couple of times I noticed yesterday some flags potentially could have been thrown, but weren't.
Yeah, he's tired. He was tired yesterday. I think that was a good day's work for him, coming off of the list and then got some practice in and then got the first game. So I think he'll only get better as he gets more comfortable, getting back into football shape, if you will. But then to the second part, Daryl, I mean, that's Miles gets a lot of attention, and from the tackle to the guard sliding out to him, to the running back chipping him, the tight end chipping him. He fights through that, and it's typically opening up a one-on-one for one of his teammates.
Thank you, Daryl. Jeff Fidel, your line is open.
Hey, Kevin, could you get specific about what you guys did to Derrick Henry? And will that formula work going forward, starting with this Baltimore game?
Yeah, I think, Jeff, what we try to do, and we alluded to this yesterday, is we try and find a way to win that game that week, and just felt like there was some different things we could do from a front standpoint yesterday, and I think it helped us. But to say that we're going to do that again, this is maybe not the case, but we'll see. We'll see what is necessary to get the win this week. But that's kind of the evolution of our game plans, making sure that we have enough wrinkles so that we're both difficult to defend and we can go attack the offense.
Thanks, Jeff. Next is Scott Petrick.
Hey, Kevin, you probably touched on this a little bit when you said Baker's comfortable in what we're doing. But after the game yesterday, he talked a lot about you guys being on the same page, you and him and AVP. So how were you able to get on the same page together? And then just how crucial is that for a coach, play call, and quarterback to be on that same page?
Yeah, I just think we talk about reps with a quarterback. It's really reps from the coach to the quarterback too. So I just think AVP does an outstanding job with that room, the offense as a whole, and that room in particular. So they're having a ton of conversations. I'll be in a bunch of those meetings, and then I'll be out in the field and talking to Baker and talking to AVP. And we're really just, we all have the same goal in mind. So as long as there's an open line of communication going each way, I think you can cover a lot of ground. And I think maybe that's what Baker's alluding to there. We just, you got to cover a lot of ground in a given week. And we make sure that we try to do that both on the field, on these Zoom calls, whatever it may be.
And he mentioned the bye week. I mean, did you guys, throw stuff out or, kind of focus on the plays that both of you guys liked? And has that made a difference going forward?
Yeah, I think so. I think, again, that was the benefit of having a bye after 8 games. You had a really good sample size, but that's anytime you can get there and you can pull it apart and find out what's working. I think that's really, we did that on the offensive side, on the defensive side, and special teams. So I think it was beneficial, certainly, as we get comfortable with what Baker really owns conceptually.
Thanks.
Thank you, Scott. Marla Ridenour, you have our next question.
Yeah, BJ Goodson's kind of flown under the radar, but he seems like he's kind of making some plays every week. Do you feel like he's grown into the system and what you're asking of him?
Yeah, BJ does a great job, Marla. He is definitely the emotional leader of the defense. You hear him before you see him. The players, he rallies the guys at practice during the games. He is making big plays in these ball games to help us win. That 2-point conversion stop between him and a great running back. I mean, that's really an impressive play by BJ.
And has he been that rallying guy from the beginning, or is it just as he's gotten to know his teammates?
He has been that guy. I think that's very natural for him.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marla. We'll go to Jake Trotter.
Yeah, Kevin, from LeBron James to the average fan in Cleveland, I know it's a different kind of time with the pandemic, but can you sense the excitement budding around this team, especially for Browns fans who have been waiting for this team to get back into playoff contention for more than a decade now?
Yeah, Jake, it is a little bit harder without the fans in the building, and we didn't have fans at training camp, which I've heard all the stories about those packed fields here in Berea. So it's unfortunate, but we talked about this yesterday. I mean, they're a big part of this. So I hope we know they're sharing in it. But we do feel the love. Like I said to you, I see all the flags when I'm driving to work or driving the stadium. So we understand the excitement there, and we just got to make sure that we continue to give them something to be excited about.
Thank you, Jake. Nate Ulrich, you're up.
Hey, Kevin, going back to what Scott had asked you a little bit, also on the bye week, I believe you guys had talked about reviewing every interception with Baker. And I'm just wondering, now that he hasn't thrown one in 5 games, if you look back to that moment and if you saw the light bulb go on, or just how beneficial was that breakdown that you guys were able to have, and do you think that's what's going on with him now?
Yeah, it's not a fun tape to watch for a quarterback when you put on the interception reel or you put on the sack reel for an offensive line coach. They don't like that, but I think you learn a lot from the tough tape, and it's tape that you've already seen once, and then you watch it again, and I think it can be beneficial. I've said it before. Baker is very hard on himself. He's very critical, and we try to coach him up. We try and point out the things that he can improve, and also double down on the things that he's really good at. And I think he's doing a nice job in that area of taking care of the ball.
Thanks, Nate. Andrew Gribble, go ahead.
Following along with Baker there, was the hard count something that you wanted him to work on this offseason, and how much of a weapon has that been for him so far?
Yeah, Andrew, cadence is definitely a weapon for us. We work very hard at it during practice, going all the way back to when we finally got together in July. That was one of the things that was an emphasis for us, because that was one of the harder things to do on Zoom. You tried to do some cadence work, but it just isn't the same when it's live. So he's done a nice job with it. We do try to mix it up as much as we can and just give the defense one more thing to think about.
And how tough is that for your own offensive line not to react to it?
Again, you can ask the players. We do it every day, and we make life hard on them in practice. We mix the cadence up so that they have to lock in and have that laser focus so that it can be a weapon for us.
Cool. Thanks.
Thank you, Andrew. Mary Kay Cabot, you have our next question.
Yeah, Coach, just reflecting back to that first game against the Baltimore Ravens, you're talking now about how much better your team and, Baker. When you look back to that now, can you say, well, first of all, do you find it pretty remarkable that that was the very first time that you ever saw your team play a football game live? But also, do you just know everybody so much better than you did then? Your running backs and how to use them, and Baker, and just pretty much everybody.
Yeah, I would hope so, Mary Kay. I think we've learned a lot about ourselves throughout every single one of these games. And I think every team in the NFL does that, because you're trying to constantly pivot towards what's working and maybe get away from what isn't. So early in the season, I'm sure as we look back on this tape schematically, we're going to be doing some different things. There's some different players in there. And I think really I'm sure that's true of Baltimore as well.
Thanks.
Thanks, Mary Kay. To Tony Grossi next.
Kevin, last week there was a lot of talk about Baker missing those 2 short throws in the end zone. And then yesterday he had nice touch on 2 of his touchdowns, to Higgins and to the Kendall Lamb. So was there a lot of work done during the week? I know Van Pelt told us, don't overthink it, just throw it. What was going on in the week to make that adjustment for him?
Yeah, Tony, we kind of talked about it last week. Anytime you miss a throw or drop a ball, we give the guys constructive criticism on things, techniques that they can do, a different way of thinking about that throw or that catch, whatever it may be. And then sometimes, like AVP said, sometimes you just got to make sure you don't dwell on it. So I thought Baker bounced back with a great week of practice last week, and I think it showed in that game.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tony. To Tom Withers next.
Thanks, Rob. Busy runway today. Hey, Coach, I'm not sure if you had 9-3 penciled into your 2020 planner after 12 games. You've got a lot of guys that have not been in this spot before. What gives you the confidence that they won't get ahead of themselves here?
Yeah, Tom, I think every week we've kind of focused on what's in front of us. So right now we got a really good football team in our division coming to our place. So we know that there's the work has to be put in. We have our work cut out for us, but I just think these games require so much attention that it's hard to get your focus anywhere else.
And you haven't had a Monday night game yet. What does the work week look like this week? How different is it?
Yeah, not very different. We have an extra day really Wednesday, but then when the players walk in the building on Thursday, we'll start our work week like it is a Sunday game. So I told the coaches when they walk in the building on Thursday, it's Wednesday and they can't convince me of anything otherwise.
So you'll give everybody Wednesday off.
We'll be in here Wednesday to get some extra work in. Yes.
I got you. Okay.
We'll start our normal work week on Thursday.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, Tom. We'll try to get 3 more in. Scott Petrick, Nate Ulrich, Mary Kay Cabot. Scott, go ahead.
Hey, Kevin. Baker's talked a lot about how important it is for him to play with confidence, and he's mentioned it again after the game yesterday. So how do you nurture that and develop that in your quarterback?
Yeah, I think confidence comes from demonstrated ability, and I think Baker has shown that at practice. He's shown it in games. So all of our players, when you're having a little bit of success, and I hope all of our players have continued success, I think the confidence certainly comes with that.
How do you kind of buoy it when there are struggles?
Yeah, I think maintaining, the attitude that we're going to correct our mistakes. We're going to constantly be looking to get better, teaching off of every play. I think we've learned a ton about our team coming off of a win and coming off of a loss. We're trying to just make corrections constantly because we are trying very hard to continue to get better. We can't just stay the same.
Thanks.
Thank you, Scott. To Nate Ulrich.
Hey, Kevin, just a kind of follow up on, talking about Myles Garrett earlier and his workload and everything. And one thing that jumped out was Olivier Vernon playing every snap. And he played almost every snap the previous game too. So what is him being able to give you guys all that work meant to the defense, and how is he done?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought him up, Nate. I mean, he played every snap. He's played a lot of snaps for us, and we only had 3 defensive ends up yesterday. So we knew, and he knew that it was going to be a full day's effort. And again, I can't say enough about him from a standpoint of just constantly going. He's out there. He's going. He knows he's a very, very smart player, probably one of our smartest players. He understands how to rush. He understands what the defense is trying to do. And we put him in some different spots yesterday, and he just kept coming and coming. And I really think that speaks. Obviously, he's a pro's pro, but he takes really good care of his body. He works hard, gets extra in because he knows this is a long season.
Thank you, Nate. We have time for one more. Mary Kay, go up.
Yeah, Coach, just wondering, have you looked at what the Ravens have been through, kind of almost with a little bit of a sympathetic eye towards the fact that, this COVID stuff can kind of happen to anyone. And just wondering what you thought of how they've kind of gotten through all that and the valiant effort it seemed like they gave against the Steelers, and just kind of what your view is on what they have been through over the past few weeks.
Yeah, this is a challenge for all of us. I think we've been dealing with some form or fashion of this since April when we got together, whether it was, the virtual off season or some of the protocols that were instituted early. And as they've evolved, I think all of us as coaches and players, we're out of our comfort zone. And that's kind of where we are in 2020. And I think it's, the teams that are able to thrive in moments of uncertainty have a leg up.